10DA head on there, and I was talking to 3 or 4 guys, and when I switched and said a few words, they all started laughing at me, and they all told me, take that off and never put it on again.
Yeah, I've had some tough times with microphones, and there's some guys that I talk to here locally on the East Coast on 160. They're down at 1.930, and they're probably audio gurus, and they help me set up my radios. The other radio I have here is the Yaesu FTX 101D, and I was not familiar with the way they do that with the parametric EQ, and they helped me set it up. I ended up putting the settings on my computer in a file, so if I ever have to reboot or whatever like that, at least I got the settings and I can set it. And I go back and forth between the RE27 and the PR40. I like the RE27 better. I think it gives you a little bit more rounder feeling, and even on the Spectrum, it does well. I have a deep voice, so I need a microphone that gives me a lot of treble. So if you look at the way the equalizer is set up on the Anon, my first 3 or 4 are all the way up, and the mid-range is in the middle, and then the bass is all the way down almost to the bottom, so that it takes out a lot of the bass, and it seems to give it a well-rounded picture on the Spectrum analyzer, you know?
Yeah, that's good. You know, and I've, when I first started playing around with equalizer, I didn't realize at first that you can change the frequency of each of the sliders. I thought, how cool is that? So I think I've got mine set to stock, but I know that at one point I had changed them around, and I thought that was really cool that you could make them any frequency you want.
Yeah, the Thetis program, I mean, it takes up a little bit of space on your computer, but it's amazing at what it can do. It's come a long ways. When I first got this, I was using HP SDR, and I didn't care for that. And then I heard about Thetis, I went to that, and then I tried to run something Council, and that was garbage. So I just pretty much stayed with Thetis. I think it was SDR Council, and I didn't really care for that too much either.
I just picked up an SDR Play receiver, and I think SDR Console is one of the software packages you could run with that. So in fact, last night I had hooked it up initially, so I didn't get a whole lot of opportunity to play with it, maybe about a half hour, and so I've been messing around with that a little bit, but I can't complain about the Thetis. Another thing I really like is the metering. You can bring those meters out and stick them wherever you want on your screen. It's awesome.
Yeah, I've been watching, oh boy, what's this, K1 Green Mountain Monster there, K1 GMM. He has some videos of setting up the Thetis. He just came up with another one with setting up the displays so that you get one color for like a S5 signal, and then an S9 is another one, and then 20 dB. So he says, I don't even look at the meter, I just look at the colors, and it'll tell me, oh, that signal there is about 20 dB over, that one's 9, and so on and so forth. So that's the next thing I want to do. And other things I want to do is try to change some skins around.
Yeah, you know, I did that with my pan adapter. I have different colors now. So the stronger your signal is, it does change color with the height. And it's blue at the bottom, and then I think it turns green, and then there's a yellow, and maybe orange, and then I think at the very top it's red. But you can define where those colors kick in It's just amazing the flexibility that the radio has, and like you say, what you can do with it. Even the receive filtering. I don't know if you noticed this, but above each of the buttons for receive, if you right-click on one of those buttons, you can change what the bandwidth is for those buttons. You don't have to use the stock values.
Oh, that I didn't know. Yeah, I gotta learn some more on this and play around. My business is, if you look at my QRZ page, you can see one of my dump trucks. I do asphalt paving for a living, so our season has just come to an end. So I'm all done doing that. So now I get into snow plowing. I do commercial snow plowing in the winter. So in the winter I get a little bit more time of playing with radio. So I plan on changing some skins, doing some status updates, and playing around with this radio a little bit more and learn a little bit more instead of just keep it as a basic radio. And by the way, I didn't get your call sign. As I said, here's Whiskey 1 Golf Charlie. Name is Joe. I want to get your call sign and put it into my logbook.
Okay, Joe. It's Whiskey Bravo number 8. Bravo Foxtrot Sierra. Bravo Foxtrot Sierra. Name's Jack.
There, you said you're over there near Cincinnati, so are you a Bengals fan?
I try to be. It's been a difficult season this year, but I'm kind of, I guess you could say I'm a little more than a fair weather fan, but it's when Burrow got hurt, it was kind of disappointing. Although they did win their Monday night game, which surprised me, but I don't think they're going to end up much above 500 this season.
No, Burrow, he had his first 3 years are good, or first 2 years were good. I thought they were going to make it. Didn't you guys make it to the Super Bowl or lose or something like that? But he had a good career, and he was a little slow this year. And then he got going, and then he got hurt. So, I'm one of your big rivalries in the next state over. I'm a Steelers fan. I grew up in the 70s, and it was either the Cowboys or the Steelers. And I grew up doing construction and blue-collar workers, so I picked the Steelers when I was 7 years old back in the 70s, and stuck with them ever since. So the 70s were great, the 80s stunk, 90s were mez. But that's a team that I don't expect to do much for a long time coming with the coaching and so on and so forth,
Yeah. Yeah, there were a lot of high hopes here in Cincinnati for, I call them the Bungles. But they had a lot of, I had high hopes for them, and I think there were a lot of people disappointed this year. And I think their offensive line has not provided enough protection for Burrow. And he did have a calf injury when he started the preseason. It didn't play much, and as a consequence, our first couple games, they looked terrible. I mean, they didn't look anything like the team last year. And I was surprised that they've actually come back as much as they have. But now that he got hurt and they got another guy in there, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But such is the life of football.
Yeah, honestly, this year I think the team that's going to win the Super Bowl, unless they have a major injury, is going to be the 49ers. I mean, the Eagles were 10-1, and the 49ers went right in there and just tore them up to pieces. I was like, holy Toledo, they're the real deal.
Yeah, I was surprised at that. I kind of suspected that Eagles were going to win, but that didn't happen. So another team that, of course, I like the Cleveland Browns a little bit. Although I play poker with my brother and a couple other guys. We have up to 8 guys that play poker on every Friday night, and we've been doing this for 35 years. So we all know each other, and 2 of the guys are die-hard Browns fans. So the last couple of years, they caught hell from all the Bengals supporters, and now they're giving it back to us because the Browns have a better record than the Bengals. So yeah, it's all fun, and but it is interesting, to see what happens.
Well, it's always been a tough division. I remember when it was the original Cleveland Browns in the 80s and 90s, that was a big rivalry between the Steelers and the Browns. Then the Ravens came into the pictures. Bengals, they were okay. I think in the 90s you guys had a pretty good run there. Now, I'm not rubbing this in, but do you guys have a Super Bowl win, or you haven't gotten one?
No, they haven't gotten one. They've gotten to it a couple times, but no win yet.
You take another team, Buffalo Bills back in the 90s. They couldn't buy themselves a Super Bowl against the Cowboys. They lost. Now this Josh Allen comes in, and for the last 3-4 years, that's all I've heard is that this is Josh's year, this is Josh's year, this is Josh's year. Well, they haven't done nothing. They came close against the Chiefs, but they lost that. So it's like, really, in the AFC, who do you have that's tough? I mean, Baltimore's pretty tough. Jaguars are pretty tough. Miami's pretty tough. The one team I'm so glad to see having a losing season is the New England Patriots. With being out here in Connecticut, that's what I've heard for the last 20 years, is how great the Patriots are.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be the case. If you're in an area and you don't support the local team, you probably really get tired of hearing how wonderful they are. I understand. WB8BFS 8 o'clock.
Whiskey One Golf Charlie. Yeah, and there's a big rivalry between the Steelers and the Patriots. In fact, back in the 90s, I lived in another house when I was in a neighborhood that was just you came in, you went to the left, you went around like a square, and you came right back out the same way. And I went over to a guy's house. What the heck was his name? Craig. Anyways, I haven't seen him in a while. And he was a big Patriots fan. Patriots were kicking the Steelers' butt. It came down to a touchdown or a field goal or something like that. And the last minute, the Steelers intercepted the Patriots, ran in, scored a touchdown, and won the game. And he thought for sure that he was going to win. Well, I'll tell you what, I left that place with my head ducking because things were flying and he was yelling and screaming and carrying on. I thought I was going to get stuff thrown at me.
Yeah, some of the fans get really riled up. I'm looking at your section here on QRZ. That's a beautiful looking truck.
Yeah, I've just gotten that. I bought that in 2015, and I brought it home for the weekend, and I put a whole bunch of wax on it, polished it all up so that it would stay new for a while, and still have it. I have 3 triaxles, and it keeps me busy.
So, do you mount a plow on the front of that?
No plow. Out here, I don't do any highways. I do commercial parking lots, so I have 3 payloaders that I run in the 3 shopping centers I have.
Oh, okay.
One has 2 payloaders and a pickup in it. The other one has 1 payloader and a pickup, and the other one is so tight I can only do it with pickups. It's I think the guy that designed that was from Florida, because it's too tight to get in and out with a machine.
Well, it's a beautiful looking vehicle. I bet that thing wasn't cheap.
That was 180,000 back then, so that's 2015, so it's 8 years old. Now, if you want to buy a truck like that, you're going to pay 250,000.
I can believe it.
Yeah, we call asphalt black gold. You know, it's $110 a ton, and all the equipment. I mean, I got 3 triaxles, 2 pavers, graders, excavators. I said, you know, I got almost $2 million in iron here.
Well, it looks like a neat profession, and you know, like you say, you get a little bit of time off here and there, and I'm sure it pays the bills. So that's great.
Yeah, helps me with my play toys. You know, like I'm the local guy around here. You know, a lot of guys have dipoles and stuff like that. All the operators in my club, I'm the only one with a beam, so I'm trying to get my DXCC on a roll. I'm up to 304 or 305 different countries, so, and I've only been a ham since 2008, so I've made pretty good progress, but still got a long ways to go.
Well, I've been in the hobby a long time, Joe, and over 50 years. But I've never gone after DXCC or even worked all states. Mostly ragchewing, and I don't know. I might chase DX a little bit. I've been having fun up on 10 meters with the openings to Europe that we've had a lot, and I get up there and then chit chat, but. I'm not really a contester, although I do get into the 13 Colonies event that's held around the 4th, but that's about the extent of my contesting.
Well, I like the challenge of the DX, and I like ragchewing. One of the biggest things I like to do is to ragchew with a DX station and compare the cost of living. Like I had spoke to a gentleman in Copenhagen, Denmark, and, you know, the cost of living here, you know, when I bought my house 18 years ago, the house cost me $250,000. Now it's worth about $400,000 compared to my next door neighbor that just got a divorce and sold their house and sold it in the fall. So, you know, things have escalated in prices of houses within the last 18 years. But when I had the conversation with him, their cost of living, you know, except for petroleum over in that area is very expensive compared to what we pay here. But for like insurance, groceries, cars, and house values and everything like that, we're pretty comparable. And I found that quite interesting. Even insurance, I told him what I was paying for insurance for a year, and he says it's pretty, you know, comparable to what they were paying. So, you know, things like that I find interesting. And I did have another conversation with a German guy, and we got talking about petroleum, and he came with his that gruff German sense of humor. You Americans always complain about petroleum prices. Try being over here. And I'm like, you know, I do see your point, because Europe has always paid a premium on petroleum prices, and we've been somewhat lucky. You know, they're paying almost $10 a gallon, and we're complaining about $3-4. Back to you, Jack.
Yeah, I know the prices in Europe have been definitely higher than the States for a long time, but I guess you get accustomed to it after a while, and you know, you live with it. I don't really complain about it, and I'm retired, so I don't drive much. Typically, about the only driving I do is you know, around town here and there. I'll fill up my car, and it'll last me over a month before I have to fill it up again. I do have to fill up the truck if we're going camping. I've got a fifth-wheel camper, and wife and I like to do some camping in the summer, and we got a trip